Why don't we create personal budgets? Are they really that boring? Are there any benefits? Watch this video to find out how to create your own personal budget and control your wallet. Hello again and welcome back to another episode of Mind Money Masters. Today we're going to talk about personal budgeting. I know what you're thinking. This is going to be super boring, a really annoying topic, and budgets aren't sexy, they are super boring, but hopefully I can change your mind. Today I want to talk about what a personal budget can actually do for you, how to create one in 5 easy steps, and how to stick to it. Plus, we're going to debunk some myths on personal budgets. As always, I will give you my final take at the end, so please stay tuned to hear that. Remember to click the thumbs up, to like my videos, and turn on those notifications to receive any new videos that I post. Also, please comment in below on what you liked and what I can talk more about. It really helps me to hear from you and what you would like to learn more about. So before we dig in, the quote of the day is from Dave Ramsey. You must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you. You know, I don't necessarily go for a lot of what Dave Ramsey says. I mean, some of the things are good, but some of the things I tend to kind of steer away from. So I wasn't really sure about posting this quote, but I do really like this quote and this particular statement because it is so true. So you must control your money and your mind over your money, or it will control you. That's basically the same thing why I created this Mind Money Masters channel, is because of this quote right here. Some of you may know that I do like to define my terms when I start a new post. So in like manner, we should define what a budget is. Quick budget definition from Investopedia defines a budget as an estimation of revenue and expenses over a certain period of time. Basically, a budget lets you see how much money is coming in versus how much money is going out. There are 3 types of budget outcomes: a surplus budget, deficit budget, and a balanced budget. For a personal budget plan, it's preferred, obviously, to have a surplus, or at least at minimum a balanced. In short, you either have to pay off all your expenses and you have no debt, balanced, or you have paid off all of your expenses and have extra money left over, which is a surplus. Balanced is good, but we like having money left over, obviously. So this way we can, use the extra to continue to invest in assets. You don't want to let your money sit there for too long. And the reason why I say that, obviously, is because of potential inflation and potential loss in value of your dollar currency. Cash is not necessarily a strong asset, given that it doesn't really do anything. Cash doesn't earn you more cash unless you invest in assets that'll earn you more cash. So more specifically, a personal budget helps you understand where you're spending money and if you need to make changes to your spending habits. Have you ever come to the end of the month and think, where did I spend all my money? Where did my money go? That's probably because you don't track your spending. A personal budget would help you monitor this and to be able to save or invest in your future. I did do a quick video on tips for saving and investing. I'll have a link for that in the description, and please check that out as well. So if you build a personal budget, I guarantee that it will be beneficial in many ways beyond just knowing what you spend. So you may ask, how do I build one? So within this slide are 5 easy steps to start. Best of all, if you have a spreadsheet software or a smartphone of any kind, you can do it extremely easily. The first step is to take inventory of your financial situation. This is the most important part and key to your personal success in this budget creation process. In order to take inventory of your finances, you must gather all your financial information. Review your bank statements, investment accounts, credit cards, loans, utility bill, pay stubs, groceries, receipts, etc. All the things associated with what money goes out for. Now, the biggest thing there is when you compile them, you want to next compile the paychecks. So you want to start with those paychecks and understand that your income is super important. So look at all the possible income that you have. I want you to take it any monetary source. So this doesn't just mean paychecks alone. If you have a side business, if you get 1099s from that side business, you want to add that in. If you have consistent interest payment from an investment, definitely include that. Again, we're really looking for anything that pays you something. Expenses are the second section that I want you to look out for. So you watch for planned and predicted expenses. This section is called the expense section, not like it's supposed to be named. So this step could be the most intensive depending on your lifestyle. And it could be the most scrutinizing too, because you really got to look at every single penny that you spend. That lunch that you spent $20 on, that, night out with the girls with the guys that you spent $50 on buying some drinks. So once we've established that the monthly income from the previous step, we have to compile these expenses. So in this steps, we create expense accounts to add to our budget. These items need to be separate line items for your budget. You add lines for mortgage or rent, car payment, utilities, cable, internet, groceries, going out, clothing, gym fees, etc. Like anything that you spend money on. If you're putting money away or investing every month, then you should be doing this, but that should also be a line item. It should be a line item as an expense, almost like investment expense, to be buying assets that could potentially make you more money. So yes, the most important part in this section is to be completely honest with yourself. If you don't consider all of your expenses, it's actually going to hurt you in the end. So, next step is to compare what you take versus what you spend. This is the cash flow analysis section, and the part that may or may not require some math skill. Obviously, just addition, subtraction. We're not looking at figuring out, the Pythagorean theorem here. It's just adding up all the expenses, subtracting them from the revenue side, and see what you have left over. It's either your surplus or your deficit. If you were honest in step 3 and you have a positive balance, that's awesome, awesome news. If you have a negative number, then there could be time to rethink the expenses section. This is where the adjustments have to come into play. So if you found expenses that maybe you don't need, cable subscription that you don't use, a dating app that you're married that you actually haven't even looked at in years but you're still paying for, cancel it. Get rid of it. With all of the alternatives to cable, to apps, to things that are out there, you don't need to spend $200, $250 a month just on cable and internet. There's no need to pay something if you don't use it. This is the power of having a budget. Again, knowledge. The more you know. Knowledge is key. It's the potential for power. Next, you have to control your spending. Establish boundaries for your spending. If you're brand new to creating a budget, then you may not understand how much is the correct amount to spend on each account. The general rule is that you want to have a surplus left over as a buffer. So if you also invest or save, include that in the monthly budget, like I said earlier, but maybe, the budget is only balanced instead of in surplus. So if you have calculated all your expenses and you're not really sure what to invest in, I would always say pay yourself first. So invest first and then find ways to decrease liability expenses. Investing is what's going to create the future for you. So generally, housing on expenses should not exceed a max of 30% of your gross income per month. I would honestly suggest spending closer to 15 to 20% of your gross income on housing costs and use the remainder to invest in yourself. That's my personal opinion. Just take a look at it if it makes sense to you. But you don't want to spend so much on liabilities. So that's the key that I'm going for here. You want to focus on investing in yourself more. Any other costs that need to be evaluated based on your analysis in your first step is also going to be in this controlled spending cash flow. If you spend $500 per month on groceries, but $1,000 per month on going out, maybe you go out too much. Rethink that. But again, this is relative, and it will also depend on your income. So establishing budgeting boundaries is super important. You can't see where you are unless you know what you're spending, and you can't revise unless you have the knowledge. So revise when needed. Okay, so next, how to stick to your personal budget. Now that we know the basics on how to create the budget, let's discuss how to stick to it. It's the hardest part. Sticking to a budget is actually harder than creating it, I promise you. There are so many distractions and enticements to have you spend money frivolously. The best way to stick to a budget, as this again is my opinion, is to think of the main purpose of the budget. What is that main purpose? Are you worried about having enough money at the end? Are you curious if you can afford something? Are you planning for something in the future and you want to save for it? Are you focusing on using some money to invest in yourself, buy a business, start a business, whatever those case may be? Find out the personal goal. Understand that the goals are important and you need to think about whenever you make a purchase. Can't tell you how many times I've mulled over a purchase in my mind and said, do I really, really need this? And if I say no, then what I actually end up doing is whatever money I was going to spend on this purchase, since it was already on the pivot mark of, do I really want to buy this? Well, now if I say, no, I'm not going to buy this, I'm going to take that money and put it into an investment. So if whatever I was going to buy is like $100 or $200, well, since I was already willing to part from it for a liability, now I'm going to part for it for sure with an asset. So think about that. That may help you. We're a very, very consumptive society. If the main society says if you want it, buy it. It's not the best way to live, and certainly does not help to easily and consistently maintain that personal budget. Another way to stick to a budget that requires less self-control is go to a cash-based system. Oftentimes it's harder to spend cash than just swiping that plastic card. So if you have cash, you can go to, hey, I'm only going to spend $100 today, and that's it. Once I'm done, I can't spend anymore. Many people that I know have watched their spending, and basically when they switch to a cash-only basis, it's really, really been beneficial for them, because now you have to go to the ATM and pull out cash if you want to get more. So it's also known as the envelope system. Cash is divided into separate envelopes with the corresponding expense written on the outside. It's old school, I get it, but it's physical, it's tangible, and it will help you make decisions on actually spending the money before you just decide frivolously to just swipe your card. It can be very, very effective in controlling your system, or your spending, the envelope system. All right, now here's some myths on needing a personal budget. Many people say I don't need a budget, or budgets are hard, so I want to expel those. You may have heard about a personal budget. Budgets are for everyone. Whether you're rich, broke, or in the middle, it doesn't matter. A budget helps you understand your financial snapshot. It helps you understand where your money goes. If you don't know where your money goes, odds are you're overspending, because you don't know where it goes. It could go anywhere. Money's a tool that can be used for many, many things. Use it effectively. I always remember the line from the musical I was in actually in high school from Hello Dolly. Money is like manure. It should be spread around, helping other things to grow. If you think budgets are hard because you're quote unquote aren't good at math or aren't disciplined enough, I have good news. There are apps that can do it for you. I have 7 best budget apps in 2021 that I can give you a link to in our description. So budgets do not have to be hard. If you think they're hard because you don't want to think about how much money you spend, maybe there's a self-control issue. It's important to think about the future. If you're living under the notion that you want to spend everything on entertainment and pleasure, understand that those things are temporary. They will not last for the future, and it sucks out your available cash flow for investing in yourself. You may never be able to stop working in order to pay for a temporary lifestyle. So my final thoughts, kind of giving you quite a bit of things to mull over here. I use my budget and I check my budget daily. I'm actually a little old school in the sense that I created an Excel file for my personal budget. I know it's crazy. I've reviewed some of the apps, and I use a couple of them to be completely honest with you, but I love my personal master budget that I created from Excel. I prefer to be more involved, and I like to number crunch. So the budget apps are easy to use and they do work well. I just prefer, crunching it myself. Budget helps me understand where money goes in or out and to where it's going. I also have a business that I use a budget to track all of my expenses and all of my revenues within my business. So I have a separate budget for my business and a separate budget for my personal. One key account that everyone should have as a line item on their personal budget is investing. Investing in yourself, investing in assets. I don't mean buying the best watch, purse, or newest shoes. That's not investing in yourself. Those things are liabilities. They don't actually give you the ability to learn more or increase your knowledge or assets where they increase your cash flow. I mean investing in your personal development. If any desire to grow your income through a second job or a side hustle, which I strongly, strongly encourage, you have to invest in your own knowledge. But remember, knowledge is just the potential for power. The power is in the execution. The power is in the action. I buy programs, read books on investing in real estate, stock market, e-commerce all the time. I have an entire bookshelf of these type of business books. Personally, I believe the best investment you can ever make is starting your own business. This is something that can make money while you sleep, doesn't have any retirement age, and can be passed on to your future generations to create that generational wealth. If you'd like to learn more about how to start your own business, please watch the short video in my description below. It will teach you everything you need to know how to create a profitable business online. Really, really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel and comment in the feed on what you enjoyed. I wish you all the best and happy budget planning.